why would it be like 125 to 175? Because the minute you start going lower, like, let me give an example, 70, 80, 90, guess what? Those properties are gonna need a ton of work, so it's equivalent to gut rehab, or they're gonna be in not so nice neighborhoods, distressed areas. Does that make sense? So what you need to focus on right now, especially to grow a business in the next 3 years, you've gotta focus on, what we're doing is on B and A neighborhoods. Perhaps B plus neighborhoods, but we try to focus on B and A neighborhoods. Why? So A is the best neighborhood. B is like the most distressed, where your neighbors may think that your car is theirs. So we don't want to be in that position, okay? Where your safety is a risk, we don't want that, okay? So we're focusing on B and C because those neighborhoods were least affected by COVID, whereas C and D, guess what? Those people got laid off. B and A neighborhoods, those people, guess what? They get to work remotely from home, so they're still collecting money. So most of the people in forbearance, in foreclosure, are in C, D neighborhoods. Therefore, you're not going to get collectible tenants. You're not going to collect top dollars for your flips. They're going to be so many great deals in their neighborhoods, which I'm going to show you now, like you won't believe. Therefore, you need to aim for the sky. Aim for B and A neighborhood. It has to be A minus neighborhoods, okay? You cannot go for Wilmette and Norbrook, Glenview. Those are like prime neighborhoods where the numbers are not going to work because they're going to be, even a bad property is going to be over 200,000, okay? So the numbers, the rehabs, the rents are going to be, they're going to mess up your formula, okay? So again, properties below 200,000, rehab no more than 40,000. And now I've heard that you want to focus on flips, rentals, wholesales. So let me tell you the secret, and this is from experience. Our first deal we tried to do on a rental, on a flip, didn't work out at all. You know why? Because the first thing that you need to understand is the market where you want to invest. Does that support your exit strategy? Because guess what? There are flipping markets and rental markets. So if you want to do a flip on a rental market, it's not going to work out, and vice versa. So what's a flipping market? A flipping market is a market where the properties are very, very fast, okay? And a rental market is where the properties rent for very high, but yet property prices are still reasonable. Let me give an example, like Wholesale, Berkeley, those are the two rental markets, top two rental markets, where you can still buy a rental, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for less than 200,000, and yet Berkeley rents for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath go over 2,000. Wholesale, 1,800 for a 3-bedroom, but yet you can buy a property for 170, 180. Does that make sense? So if you're thinking about rentals, there are rental markets that support that strategy. Does that make sense? The same for flips. So let me give you an example. For flips, as I said before, you need an area that the properties are going to move so fast. All you need to know is one metric to see if you're going to be able to successfully do a flip. And it's called, make sure you write this down, months of housing supply. Again, months of housing supply. And it has to be less than 2.5. Now, what does that mean? Wait a minute. Very simple. What it means is that assuming there are 100 properties in that market, it's going to take no more than 2.5 months for the entire inventory or 100 properties to be sold out, to run out. There's nothing else for sale. Obviously, the assumption is no new properties are coming in for sale, okay? So you want properties to move very quickly, and yet the demand is high. Does that make sense? Because guess what? There are markets where the months of housing supply is like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. So if you don't know that metric and you buy a property, you want to flip it, just market time is going to take you 6 months. Plus rehab time, 2 months, 8 months. Can you imagine? It makes a huge difference. So that's just the foundation for you to understand the numbers, how to identify great deals. So when you look at a property, you already know what the ARV is going to be. You can, we give you the ARV, but you can check some of the comps, right? Now the rehab, something that is super important to complete the rehab, so you can multiply that times 2, the square footage times 2, but also there are 3 types of rehab that you need to be aware of: the light, the medium, and the gold rehab. You want to stay away from the gold rehab. Why is that? Because many people, they have a misconception that more work is bigger. That's not the case, because guess what? The money in real estate is not on the rehab, because otherwise, can you imagine, all contractors and handyman would be financially free, would be wealthy, right? If the money was in the construction, but it's not. It's in the investment of doing multiple and many deals, in and out, in and out, in and out. Because instead of doing one big project a year, you can do 5, 10 deals a year. Does that make sense? Therefore, your focus should be light and medium. So what's light rehab? When you open up a house, the bare minimum you're going to do is paint, light fixtures, flooring, and that's pretty much it. Now, a medium rehab, the difference between the light and the medium rehab is where you start updating the bathrooms and the kitchens, okay? You're gonna do some light plumbing, light electric, light HVAC, that's about it. But gold rehabs is when you do new system, new HVAC, new ductwork, new water heater, new boiler, new condenser, new windows, new roof, foundation issues, new plumbing, new electric. Does that make sense? You want to stay away from that because it's going to take you longer. You're going to be dealing with the village inspectors, a lot of contractors that you're going to need permits for electric, plumbing. So you're making your life more difficult when it shouldn't be, right? So you need to focus on deals that need very little work. So now the question is, where do you find these deals? So you have 2 options, either MLS or off market. So our focus has been on now off market, because that's where you can find that $100,000 spread, okay? Now for off market, there are many lead types. Like Chris was saying, province, you have pre-foreclosure, so people who fell behind the mortgage, they're going to lose the property to the bank. It's going to go for auction if they don't come current with the loan, right? So pre-foreclosure, the owners are still the owners of the property, but if eventually they don't come current, they're going to lose the property. And eventually, if they lose the property, then it becomes the bank's asset. So it becomes REO, real estate owned property. So we're focusing lately on banks owned properties. So properties already repossessed by the bank. Okay, now the reason why is because we have a partner that is giving us 300 to 500 properties a week, bank owned properties. Okay. So that is why we've been focusing on that inventory lately, and that's what we've been finding amazing deals that I'm about to show you, okay? And remember, to analyze the deal from what they want for the purchase price, add 100,000, that should be your ARV, okay? Does that make sense so far? Just as a quick intro. So now let's dive into it, and let's quickly go over the strategy. So I'm gonna show you where we find the deals, and then funding. We're going to be talking about funding because funding is very important. When you have a great deal, and this is what the pros have. This is what it took us 2.5 years to figure out. The pros have 3 things. They have a great deal. Make sure you write this down. Number 2, they understand basic analysis. And number 3, they have funding, but they have funding because they have a great deal. If you don't have a great deal, you will never get funding for it. So like for instance, private money lenders, if you have a great deal, they can help you pay for 100% of the purchase price and the rehab. Okay, hard money lenders, big institutions, they're gonna want you to have a skin on the game. So they're gonna ask you for at least 15, 20% down. So let's just go over some of the examples. Okay, so this is, you know, what I would like to be. This is where I want you to be. I want you to be right there. So you are not in line. You're going to be first in line to access these great deals. Okay, so we're going to give you our secret. Let me show you. So as I told you earlier, we're going to be focusing on A and B neighborhoods, okay? Most desirable properties. So in this case, livability score, it's super important for us. It's 83%. So let me tell you, livability score, it's a summary of everything, crime, schools, employment, and so forth. We're looking for areas with a livability score of over 70, okay? That makes B and A areas, okay? Anything below 70, you're gonna have high crime, unemployment. We're not interested in areas below 70%. Super, super important. Somebody comes to us and says, hey, if you want to partner up on a deal, where is it? It's Maywood. No, Maywood is like below 70, 60 something. So we're not interested. So focus on A and B neighborhood. So this is an example of property in Mount Prospect. So let me explain to you how the process works. Once the bank repossesses the property, guess what? The bank is not in the business of real estate. The bank is in the business of lending. So what the bank is going to do, the bank is going to get rid of these properties. How? They're going to send them to the auctioning platforms like auction.com, Wholesale.com, and so forth. Okay, so we are going to get this inventory in ChicagoDealVault, for instance, this week, Tuesday through Thursday, and we have about a week to do our due diligence, meaning we need to check out the location, run the numbers, go see physically the property, and if we like the property, then we can say, I'm interested in the property, and boom, we sign the sales contract. Does that make sense? Very, very simple. The key here is that you can wholesale these properties. You have to follow through and buy the properties. And then later, if you want to do wholesale, then you can do that. But to begin with, you have to follow up with the transaction. Oh no, we're getting this inventory from partners. So we get about 300 to 500 a week, and those are going to go to Hudson.com, Auction.com, Xom, Williams & Williams, Marshall and Hudson, so the biggest online auctioning platforms. The cool thing is that we can pull those from the back door, which is insane. I mean, I love these because let me give you an example. This property, Mount Prospect is an A neighborhood, okay, A minus neighborhood. It's a very desirable area. So when I looked and saw the property in ChicagoDealVault, what I wanted to see is this property already in one of the auctioning platforms? Yes, it was in Xom, okay? And at the time, somebody was bidding 198,000, okay? Just to give you an idea, this property is worth over 250,000. So somebody, this was gonna sell for maybe 230 or so. But the cool thing is that we knew what the reserve is for the property, for every single property that is in the auction platform. So what's the reserve? The reserve price, make sure you write this down, is how much the bank is going to sell it for. Okay, so the bank, we knew the bank was going to sell this property for 160,000. That's the bank's bottom line. Okay, and when I go to the website, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to engage in a bidding war because you're going to end up losing money, right? So here in ChicagoDealVault, when the bank took the property from the judicial auction, then look, so it took it back for 159,000, and this happens to be the reserve, but not all the time, okay? So in this case, I knew the property was close to 280,000. Imagine, if the bank is selling the property for 160, what's the secret that I gave you at the beginning of the presentation? 160, so the property needs to appraise for how much? 260. DealVault is telling me this property may appraise for more than that. Boom, brother, I mean, it was like, oh, we need to get a hold of this property. Does that make sense? So the next step that we did is, we check ChicagoDealVault, what's the max offer I can make on this property? If let's say I do a flip or rental, it doesn't matter because when you have these much spread in the deal, I told you that 100,000, there's some formulas for these, right? But it's gonna work. You see, for the flip, the most you should pay is 173,000, but I know the reserve is 160, right? So all these numbers are gonna just work amazing. If you're gonna do a rental, the most you should pay is 200,000. So even if we bought the property for 198, it will still work only for a rental. You couldn't do a flip on it. So now, boom, guess what? We decided to pull the property when I saw that big of a spread, and we got it under contract. contract for 161,000. Okay.
So you're saying you have a partner where you're getting
Yes.
deals. Are these then flowing through Chicago?
Yes, they're flowing through Chicago Deal. All of this. You would have access to them. You have access to them. And not only that, you know what we're doing? We're taking it to the next step because we get so many properties that I told the team, because in Chicago Deal, we have like 15 people. Between data analysts, we have 2 people just dedicated for analyzing deals. I told them, analyze every single Bankton property and flag the ones that have over $80,000 spread between what the bank wants for the property and what the ARV for the property should be. I want to see at least 80,000 and more. Does that make sense? Because I want to make sure that we don't miss a single deal. So in this case, boom, we got it on the contract for 161. So imagine, this is what you call connections. If somebody at the auction site is bidding 198 and there was still 1 day remaining for the auction to be over, but yet you put it for 161, how crazy is that? Can you imagine the power of that? Isn't that crazy? Like, I mean, the bank is losing money, right? Because the bank could maximize their return by leaving the property on the site. But, you know, it's not up to us, right? So our partner has the great connections in all these auctioning platforms that he's able to put it from the back door. So let me give you another example. And this is the formula that we use, right? So we buy it, rehab it, we rent it, we refinance, and then we repeat. So I'm gonna go over this example. This is the secret formula, but I will show you these with some actual numbers and deals that we've done. Okay, so this is the formula. Make sure that you understand. This is the true formula for building wealth. So you buy the property, you have to rehab it, you are going to rent it because you cannot refinance unless it's rented. Okay, and then you repeat the process. Now, many ask, why do I need to refinance? Great question. Because when you buy the property, we're going to be using hard money lenders or private money lenders, right? Which is expensive money and it's short-term money. So we need to buy the property with that money, fix it up, and then rent it. Once it's rented, guess what? We have to get off the hook of that expensive money. So we bring the conventional lenders, right? Or even nowadays, hard money lenders are refinancing. So they're putting your fixed rehab loan into a rental loan. That's what they're doing right now because they figure out they're missing a big piece of the pie. They give you the money up front to buy the property, to rehab, and a few months later, they're out of the equation. They're not making any money in interest. So now they became smarter and say, I'm going to give you the loan for the rental as well. Does that make sense? So they want to capture the whole financing piece, which works amazing. So that is why you have to refinance or pay off the expensive money that you borrow, okay? So let me give another example. Again, this is Bankton property. This is a property in Cicero. But before I talk about this example, this property that I showed you earlier in Mount Prospect, remember what I told you about the condition? It needed a light rehab. So as part of your due diligence, you have to physically go see the property. Number one thing that we check is it occupied or vacant? Because guess what? If it's occupied, it's more difficult for funding because you need access to the property to do an appraisal, an inspection, right? To get a contract to see the property. So you want to make sure that it's vacant, although right now we're working on one that is occupied, but we have already reached out to the tenants. Okay, and made an agreement with them. I'll show you that in a second. So this property was vacant, and not only that, but the person that went out there, I said, Mark, please go check it out. So he checked it out. The back door was open, so he went inside and took a video. He said, here, this doesn't need any work at all, just the kitchen and the bathroom. Boom. So right away, that's a medium rehab, right? That's what I care. When you walk a property, the first thing that you need to look is kitchen and bathroom. Because if you need an update on the kitchen and bathroom, your rehab is going to be square footage. In this case, is 1,500 square feet times 230,000. You need to have a cushion, 5 to 10,000. So right off the bat, I said the rehab on this is going to be 35 to 40, and indeed it became like 33. And it was just paint, light fixtures. We updated the kitchen and updated the bathroom. Boom, 33,000. Okay. So now let me show you this on the property in Cicero. It's a little bit bigger, 4-bedroom, look, 1,800. So guess what? When I see 1,800 square feet, oh, I feel a little bit uncomfortable because right away I multiply this times 2 and I say the rehab is going to be 36,000 plus my cushion, 36 plus 10, 46,000. I don't feel as comfortable with over 40,000 rehab, but I said, well, let's check it out. So this came in default. So I said the first thing is it occupied or vacant? Boom, I called a runner. And I said, please go check it out. And he says, Hugo, it's vacant. It's all locked in. I cannot go inside the property. Yes, Eddie? Yes. Great question. Yes, you only have about a week to do the due diligence, 5 to 7 days, okay? Great question. So on this property, the runner said, Hugo, it looks in really nice condition. So he did the video all around the properties. One of the windows didn't have a blind. So he was able to do the kitchen. I mean, the kitchen looked very, very nice. So based on that, we didn't need to go in the property. So we said to our partner, Jacob, let's put it. So we did exactly the same thing. So this time, when I went to auction.com, it was pending. And then the rehab, the ARV on this property, based on auction.com, they said the property was worth about 140,000. So what's the secret that I told you at the beginning of the presentation? Have 100,000 spread. So in my mind, I said, if auction.com is telling me 242, I mean, the property is worth over 230 for sure. How much do I need to get on the contract for? 140, right? Or so. So boom, we're going on the contract for 135,000. And look at the inside condition of this property. So just a ton of equity right off the bat. And this is when you make money in real estate, not when you do the rehab, not when you rent, not when you flip, not when you refinance. You make the money in real estate when you get it on the contract, okay? So in this case, this is how much equity you're adding to your net worth when you get awesome deals on the contract. Does that make sense? Your exit strategy doesn't even matter because I can turn around and say, Professor, you're interested in this awesome deal in Cicero. Okay, I can wholesale this to you for 20, 30,000. He'll be like over the moon to buy this deal. Does that make sense? I don't even need to do anything, just have it on the contract and reassigning. So the scope of work on this, I came up with 29 because why? I said 1,800 square feet, oh my goodness. And I haven't seen the property from the inside. I'm gonna multiply this by 2, so it's gonna be 18 times 2, it's 36, right? So that is why I came up with that, but it was a live rehab, so it was very conservative. Why? Because, let me show you the pictures. This is the inside of that property. When we got it on the contract, then we secure the inside of the property. So look at the condition of the property. The previous owner had done a flip on the property, so they did all the bells and whistles on the property. So we got it on the contract for 135. The rehab was 15,000 because it was light. We did not need to do anything to the bathrooms and kitchen. So in this case, my scope of work to the bank was a lot higher for a reason, because maybe unexpected, I couldn't access the property, unexpected items, and also because if I'm gonna put some skin on the game, I might get this money back on the back end, on the refinance. If my scope of work, it has some cushion and I'm under budget, guess what? That money is coming back to us because harmony lenders are gonna give you this money for their rehab. So these are the numbers, 135, the rehab ended up being 12,000, so all in 147. This property is worth 100,000 more. Does that make sense? So let me show you the rehab. It's all paint, it looks nice, but it has the new appliances, okay? The granite countertop, as is, we painted the kitchen cabinets, we painted the entire property. When you see all this molding, everything was existing, the flooring was existing. All this crown molding was from the previous flipper, okay? We didn't do any of this. Look, even in the ceiling, this is very expensive. The recessed lighting, we didn't do any of that. We just painted the property. Let me just show you the bathrooms. I think the mirror was missing on both, and maybe the lights were missing. So that's all we did. But other than that, nothing. We didn't need to do anything on this property, just for sure painting. there was a repair in the roof that we had to address, but that's about it. So it's just paint. The windows were in perfect shape. So this property currently rents for $1,770. So it's cash flowing. So not only is the tenant paying for the entire property's expenses, but also you're putting money in your pocket. That's how you can increase your net worth, not only by the equity amount, because let me show you. In the next slide, all in is 147,000. The ARV came up to be 225. Okay, less than what auction was saying. So when we refinance, meaning to pay off the expensive money, we only tap into 66% equity of the property. So we ended up with 33% equity on the deal, or 77,000 equity on this deal. So not only is the tenant paying for your property, but you're cash flowing few hundred a month. Does that make sense? That's how you can increase your net worth exponentially. So I have another one that I want to show you. I want to show you the numbers on this other property that we just recently did. But before we do that, are there any questions online? Any other questions? Yes. Caesar is a C plus B minus. C plus, C plus. You have to stick to C plus. Maywood is a C minus. We're skipping Maywood, for instance. So C plus B minus. Yeah. Yes. In many cases, the question is, when you get the property in the contract, have you seen the property from the inside? Sometimes you're not able to see it from the inside, like in this case. We put it on the contract, all we had was a video of the outside. Yeah. If for some reason you walk in and it's more than you expected? No, there's no way out. So once you put it on the contract with our partner, there's no way out. But that is why when you have a spread of $100,000, even if something is not so great, you still have some room. Does that make sense? So there's no way out. Once you sign a contract, there's no way out. Great question.
Good and occupied is not good. But when we go to the bank is saying, hey, if it is occupied, some rent is coming, then we are sure like we are going to get the rent, then we will give you the loan. If it is empty, we will not give you the loan.
Okay, so the question is, if the property is occupied, then the bank is going to give you the loan because you're going to be collecting rent. Well, then unfortunately, that's not the case because guess what? Those properties, the owner has already lost the property, right? So it's either the owner in there or a tenant in there, right? And guess what? Since they lost the property in the first place because they were not able to make the mortgage payment, do you think you're going to be collecting rent from them? No way. You're not going to collect any rent. So the challenge is when you get it on the contract and it's occupied, that the lender, Harmony lender, will send an appraiser. So the appraiser needs to physically go inside the property because their money is on the line. They want to make sure that it's not vandalized, that it's in okay condition. They need to come up with an as-is value and the ARV, after repair value, for the property. That is why with occupied properties, you have to have an agreement in place with the tenant. So cash for keys agreement, that's what we're working on right now with the tenant, that we like the property. I'm going to show you the property. There's an office spread and it doesn't need much work. It's just like the Caesar property, but it's occupied. So we told the tenant, listen, we're going to give you $3,000 when you move out at the end of November. In exchange, I need access for the appraiser, for the inspection, and for the contractor. That's it. So we move out and leave the property in broom clean condition. Make sure you take all your belongings, right? I don't want to haul away everything because that can cost $600-700. But if you do, I'm going to deduct it from the $3,000. Does that make sense? They were planning on moving anyway, so they're going to make money. So it's a win-win. Yes.
What if it is owner-owned and the owner refuses to move out? And if it happens to be sometime in winter, Illinois has the rule like, if senior citizens or
Right.
things.
Right.
So what about the holding cost and also the eviction?
So the question is, if the property is occupied and the owner or tenant are unwilling to work with you, then in the first place, unless you have cash to pay for the property, you won't get funded for it because then the appraiser is not going to go in the property. In fact, we had a case, there was a great property in Skokie. There was over $130,000 spread. I went to the property myself. I talked to the neighbors. They said the property is in immaculate condition from the inside because he's a contractor. So I went there. You know, the wife opened up and then she called the husband and then she said, no, just close the door. And then, but I found out from the neighbors that they were from Eastern Europe. So I happened to have a runner, a contractor from Eastern Europe. So I sent the guy from Romania, I remember. Please try to talk to the owner. They're from Romania. Try to see if we can work an agreement, cash for keys. He said, okay, Hugo. He went there. He could not get it to work. So I knew even if I did it on the contract, I cannot get funding for the property. And then if you get private money, buy the property, guess what? You don't know when they're going to move out, right? And right now, there's a moratorium on evictions, right, until next year, maybe January 1st. So you cannot evict them. And the problem is that since they're distressed, they might vandalize the property, right? And they take everything, especially if it's a contractor. Oh my goodness, he might even take the furnace, the water heater, the kitchen cabinets, the appliances. So what I thought it was a great deal with a lot of equity might become a good rehab afterwards. Does that make sense? So no, there are way too many great deals to take on that challenge. Great questions.
Bottom price from the bank. Is there any way we can find out the bottom price of the bank?
So the bank's reserve is the bottom price of the bank. So we know what that is on every single property at the auction properties. And in fact, the one that we're working on, I'm going to show you, the bank's reserve was 102,000. Okay, 102. Through our partnership, we got it down to 94. That's very unusual because that's the bank's bottom line. It's just very hard. Okay, there's no negotiation. So we tell you the bank's reserve, that's what it is. But in this case, we have great relationship with Jacob. He was able to save us like 5,000 or so. It's very unusual. Any other questions on the line, Eddie?
We get funded from your private money lenders, the deals we find under DealVault.
Absolutely. So in fact, in the room, we have an eager private money lender. We know many private money lenders. In fact, I'm going to show you how to present the deal. And then this deal that we're interested in Berkman, I talked to one of DealVault members who is a private money lender. So we're going to put him on the line. He doesn't know I'm calling him, but we're going to call him, right? Because I sent him the document, which I'm about to show you how to present the deal to get it funded. Because once you find the deal, you need to present it to a private money lender so they see your numbers, your comps. They want to see that their money is secure, right? In a great property with a lot of equity that cash flows. So I'll show you that in just a second. Any other questions on the line? No? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to, yes, another question?
How do you get the shadow inventory and the contract?
How do we get the shadow inventory where? Oh, okay. We just, through ChicagoDealVault, there's a button that says inquiry button, and boom, you're going to be connecting directly with Jacob, our partner. So you can ask him, hey, Jacob, is this property available? You say yes, and then you say, okay, just pull it, and boom. Yeah, I'll show you that. So let me show you another property. I'm sharing my screen. So this property, okay, the one in Mount Prospect, let me show you the appraisal. Okay. Move this over. So the one in Mount Prospect, remember how much we got on the contract for? The one in Mount Prospect was 160. This is an A neighborhood, okay? So this property recently appraised in September this year, appraised for 284. Can you imagine that? We got it for 160. I told you the rule of thumb is add 100,000. So DealVault told me that it was going to appraise for 279, right? 279, and it appraised for 284. So DealVault was right on target, but I knew that it had $100,000. So indeed, it had $120,000 spread, and it needed very little work, 33,000, which is medium. Okay, so now let me show you another property that we pulled from the from this inventory, or the one in Elmwood Park. So this is the property. We just rented this property. It's in Elmwood Park. This is the address, 2232 North 74th Avenue in Elmwood Park. We recently pulled this property. So when I saw it in DealVault, again, how much is the reserve? It was 150,000. I said, what is the ARV to be? 250, right? Very simple, and the rehab needed to be less than 40. So this property just recently appraised for, let me show you, look, 265. So we bought it on the contract, we got on the contract for 151, and it appraised for 265, 115,000 on top of what we got it on the contract, right? Now the rehab of this property, let me show you. I did my numbers, and then it's a 1,700 square feet property. So how much would be the rehab if we need to do the kitchen and baths? 1,700 square feet property. 34. Add your cushion of 5 to 10,000. How much?
44.
Exactly 44 or so. So the rehab ended up being 47. And you know why? My mistake. Let me just show you the property here. Was when I walked the property, I knew bathroom kitchens needed to be done, but I missed the windows. Okay, in fact, Eddie has been to that property, right, Eddie? So the windows before the rehab, remember the windows? I thought we could get away with those windows because it's a rental. But you know, when I brought the contractor, he said, Hugo, this is just too much work to do the windows. So let's just replace the windows. So there was an additional expense of 7,000 on all brand new windows. It is worth it, but the rehab came higher, 47 than what I anticipated. But still, when you have enough meat in the bone, like over 115,000 extra, then the numbers are going to work. So in this case, so this is the contract for that same property. You see, 150,000, and this was from auction.com, and it was the same story, and that's the reserve price. When I looked it up in auction.com, people were bidding over. Imagine if the property is worth 260 and it doesn't need much work, wouldn't you think a normal investor would pay close to 200,000 for this property all day long? Because they think, oh, I have $60,000 spread. Well, we won't engage in a bidding war. We're going to pay the least or the lowest possible amount. Does that make sense? And this is what you need to make money on the deals. So let me show you what it looks like today after the rehab. So this is the property. So this now has the brand new windows. So we put a new kitchen. It's a very small kitchen. We did the bathroom. That's where you need to put the money, kitchen and bathroom. So it has 2 bathrooms. This is the second bathroom upstairs. All we did here was the vanity and the mirror and the lights. That's it. So it was so minor. But the bathroom downstairs, the previous picture, that was like a gut on the bathroom. So let me show you. This bathroom was gutted. That's the bathroom on the first floor. It was just horrible. So we did the tile around, the bathtub, the vanity, the mirror, the light. So just to give you an idea, this is going to cost you about $4,000 to $5,000 to do a brand new bathroom. The kitchen is going to cost you about $7,000 to $10,000. Okay, this type of kitchen, $7,000 to $10,000. Just appliances, $3,600. The cabinets, $1,500. Labor, and then let me show you the. Okay, so this is the living area. All we did was resanded the hardwood floor, varnish it. The light fixtures, as is, we didn't do anything to the light fixtures. This is the second floor. We did carpet on the second floor. And the stairs, carpet on the stairs as well. So that's the second floor. Oh, the basement is unfinished. So we painted the basement, we fixed some cracks, and we put a new washer and dryer. The mechanicals were in good shape in the property. This is the back of the property. It does not have a garage. If this property had a garage, it would have priced for close to $300,000. Again, Elmwood Park is a B plus neighborhood. It's not quite A, it's a B plus. Okay, so you can As you can see, these great neighborhoods, imagine you can create deals for 150, 160 in top neighborhoods. That's what you need to do because I see a lot of investors paying this kind of money for very distressed properties in other neighborhoods. Yes, question?
These properties that you're getting through your partner, you know what the reserve is, and they're also on auction, correct?
Yeah.
And I guess I'm curious to why other people are bidding higher amounts if there's that much spread and you're able to get them. I mean,
Great question. So the question is, why are you getting all these awesome deals when other people are willing to pay more? And it's called connections. That's it. Right?
So they're taking your offer over somebody else.
Exactly, exactly. That is why I showed you the image on the screen that you're going to be first in line and everyone else is going to be standing in line. Imagine the power of that. When people are willing to pay 30, 40, 50,000 more than you, imagine, are they going to make any money? Who knows? God bless them, but we're not going to engage in bidding wars because that's when you can lose big time money. Does that make sense? We know the numbers.
Putting a contract on those types of properties, our bid is like submitted before there?
So the question is, are bids submitted before? No, we get in touch directly with the asset managers at auction.com and we say we need the property for reserve price. That's it. So whoever is bidding, guess what? It's going to be in October. It's going to be like, boom, bye-bye. Connections, okay? So we're totally taking full advantage of these. This is another property that we just found and we got on the contract, I think on Friday. Let me show you this property and we're gonna analyze these very quickly. This is in Burbank. Okay, session time, time up. So this is another property that in Nashville, but I do want to show you. So this is a very small property, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. This is the report that we generate from DealVault to present the deal for funding. So the ARV on this property is going to be about 175. I spoke with Frank Montreal. He did an ARV on this. It's about 175 for the property. We're going to be able to get it for 105. After all the fees are paid, 105. So if we wanted to flip it, we wouldn't make enough. So it's not a flippable property, but we're going to keep it for rental. Okay, so on the rental, we're going to cash flow about 400 to 500. Okay, all the numbers are right here. The comp. This is what the private money lenders are going to be looking for. That you pull the comps, see the comps side by side. Not only that, but they also want to see something from the inside. So this is the property. Look at the kitchen. So the kitchen, we're going to be able to keep everything. So this will be a rental. The square footage is about 1,100. So nothing much. We're just going to paint, put door handles, make it look nice, change the countertop. And right here, so it's a small property in Burbank that we can get for 105, and it's going to price for close to 180. Okay, it's a quick in and out, and then reaching out. This is the document that we sent to the private money lender. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. In this case, great question. So here we'll have $100,000 spread. We have about an $80,000 spread, but the condition for this is to have to be in good condition. Okay. So if I know I don't need to do a brand new kitchen or a brand new bathroom, the rehab on this is going to be 10 to 15,000. Does that make sense? So then you have to do the numbers. So having an $80,000 spread with a rehab of 15,000, boom, it works. Because do the math. 80,000, we have an 80,000, but the rehab is 20,000 less. So it's equivalent to having a $100,000 spread, but doing a 30,000. So I'd rather have less spread, but less rehab, because the rehab on this, we can do this in 3 weeks, right? We're gonna be in and out so fast. So, but it's occupied, so we're gonna offer them 3,000 to this owner. Okay, great question.
Is this template available to us?
Yeah, so the question is this template available to you? Absolutely. We generate this from ChicagoDealVault.
And then you're saying that there's private lenders or yourself funded. If we submit this stuff, the numbers look good. What is the general turnaround time on getting an answer whether it'd be funded?
Very fast, very fast. So I got on the phone with, let me call him, our partner, and then I'm gonna get him, call him on the spot. Let me see. Okay, so let me pull up, and then we're just gonna chat with him and see what this, because you know these may close a lot sooner. So he asked me, when will you need the money? I said by December, but I think it's gonna need to be by November, because I saw the contract that I signed, the closing is supposed to be on the 21st of November. So let me give him a call. We're gonna put him on speakerphone. Okay. So here, because the document that you're seeing, I sent it to him. Okay, so he might not be available, but.
Hello?
Hey, Perez, how are you doing? It's me, Hugo. Hey, I happened to sign the contract on the Berkman property on Friday, and I believe they want us to close in November. Would that be okay if we close in November instead of December? Like probably the third week of November. Would that be okay? Okay, perfect. And then did you get the chance to go over the PDF document that I sent you with the numbers? Okay, perfect. And you know what? I also reached out to Frank Montreux. He did an ARV on the property just to double check. He came up a little bit higher than I did. I came up with like 170. He came up to close to 180. Okay, so that's yeah, it's gonna be good. So as I told you earlier, I would like to put like zero money on the deal and get the purchase price and some of the rehab money. Would that be okay? Is that okay? Yeah, it's gonna be probably, we're looking at probably 115, 120, and then we'll get that money out on the refi. Okay, perfect. By the way, there are like over 40 people listening to you right now. So sorry I put you on the spot. Okay, so I didn't mean to. Yeah, so what we're gonna do next is I signed the sales contract. We're waiting for the bank to sign it. As soon as I have the executed contract, then we're gonna talk to the tenant, since we already have an agreement with them to move out by the end of November. We're gonna schedule a date for you to come, for me to be there, for George, the inspector, to be there, for the general contractor, GC, to be there, and hopefully the appraiser. But otherwise, like the four of us are gonna be there. As soon as I get the executed contract, we'll make an appointment and then I'll let you know. Is that okay?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. That sounds good, Paresh. Okay, so thanks a lot. I didn't mean to interrupt you someday, and then I'll keep you posted. Okay? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. How was that, guys? I don't want to put any money out of pocket, right? Well, when can you afford to do that when you have a good deal? Does that make sense? So we're killing the myth, right? That people say, oh, you know what? I don't want to do real estate. I can't do real estate. I want to focus on wholesales to raise some capitals. You don't need to do that. You can do rentals, flips, if you find the great deal, because there are going to be plenty of people who want to partner up with you. Okay? There's another private money lender that we know of. She can do exactly the same thing. She can lend 100% on the purchase price, 100% of the rehab, if there's enough equity. Can you imagine? So all we need to do is become the best at finding deals. Does that make sense? And finding deals, we're finding these for you because we're going to have our team send you these deals analyzed with that much spread. You had a question or a question on the line? Yes, Eddie. Two questions.
How is the ARV?
Great question. How do we compute the ARV, the after repair value in ChicagoDealVault? Nightly, we have batches. We go out and look for comps in the same neighborhood within a 1 mile radius that sold in the last 6 months with a plus minus 20% minus of the square footage. So if the subject property is 1,000 square feet, we look for comps between 800 to 1,200 square feet. 6 mile radius, no, 1 mile radius, and a 6 month time. Exactly. So that's how we compute that back in, because we have access to the MLS. Great question. The second question? Yeah.
All of Jacob's auction properties pre-auction, or are they all pre-auction, or are there some properties that were not purchased in the auction and go back to the bank that Jacob can pull?
Yeah, all these bank-owned properties we can pull, and they are post-auction. So the bank already repossessed these properties, okay? Because auction.com is a little bit confusing. They also promote judicial sales auctions. So the auctions that you have to go in person, okay? But these are all online. Most of the auctioning platforms are all online. So these properties are already bank-owned properties. But auction.com promotes both the live auction and the one that is for bank-owned properties. Another question?
Yeah, Mark asked, do you bring in the banker, inspector, and contractor after you sign the contract?
So the question is, do you bring banker, inspector, and contractor after you sign the contract? So yes and no, it depends. If the property is open, if we, for some reason, have access to the property, I'm gonna send the GC. I'm gonna say, give me a quote, just a rough idea. How would it take to make it nice? The inspector I won't bring until we have an executed contract, because I don't want to pay $400 unless I have an executed contract. And then our private money lenders or hard money lenders, they don't need to get the property before I get it on the contract. Once you get it on the contract, then they're going to need to do an appraisal. Yeah. One more question.
What do you do during the 5 days?
Okay, so during the 5 days of due diligence, guess what? That is for the regular contract, the 7.0 from the MLS, that you have 5 days for thorough review and inspection. But in this case, you have already done your due diligence before you sign the contract. Once you sign the contract on these properties, it's too late. You cannot back out. Does that make sense? So you are, even if you have 5, you won't even have those 5 days of contingency. No, there are no contingencies. Only nothing, no contingency, not even mortgage contingency, not even inspection contingency. That's a great question, okay? No contingencies. Once you sign the contract, you have to close on the property. So that is why before you get it on the contract, see it from the outside, see if you can get it in the property. We have another property in Springwood that we got from them as well, back to property. There was a window open, so the contractor, boom, went inside, did the video, it looked really good. And then we paid $133 for the property. The rehab was $27, so all in close to $160. It appraised for like $240. So we bought it for $130. It appraised for $240. Remember the secret number 1? You have $100,000 spread. Okay. Another question?
For the private lending or funding.
Yeah, for the funding.
What are the terms typically?
Okay, the terms for the private money lenders. Okay, so typically, they're going to charge 12% interest rate, 2 points, and it's a short-term loan, 4 to 9 months, okay? And that applies for hard money lenders, but I've seen from 9 all the way to 16% on the interest rate, and it's interest only, okay? But that's okay, right? They're going to make money, but you're going to get the deal. Like in this case, I don't want to put any money out of pocket. I just find a great deal, and he's going to pay for everything. Right, and then when we refinance, then I'm gonna pay him off right away. Does that make sense? So money out of pocket could be very little or nothing, okay, depending on your private money lender. And then you're gonna end up with a property, equity, and cash flow. That's what you need to do. Is this clear? Does that make sense? Great questions. Yes, Eddie.
The seller still have to provide for your title?
Yes, that's what I love about this. The title. What title are you going to get? And that is why I love bank-owned properties, okay? Properties that have been taken over by the bank, because you are going to get a special warranty deed. So it's free of liens and encumbrances. Super important. So you get a special warranty deed or a general warranty deed, okay? Which is awesome. So I don't need to worry about any previous liens, any tax not paid. No, you get a clean title, okay? So that's the beauty, because when you buy properties from the owner, right, directly before they have gone to the bank, guess what? You do need to worry about liens. If they're behind, if they have liens from the village, from the association, from the water department, from the bank, you need to satisfy those liens before you can get a clear title. Does that make sense? So buying the properties from the bank, it's awesome, because even if there was so many liens on it, you get a special warranty deed. That is why I love bank-owned properties. Great questions. What?
Are the qualifications for the private lending typically based on the property alone, and is there a recourse or?
Great question. So what's the qualification to get funding for this deal? You need three things. You need a great deal that has equity. They're looking for equity. So if you have the $100,000 equity, they're looking for that. If you're going to do a buy and hold, they're looking for cash flow. And also lenders, particularly Harmony lenders, are going to be looking for a ratio that is called the debt coverage ratio of 1.2 and above. What it means is that your rent needs to cover all the expenses, and you need to have a surplus of 20% of that. So if you collect $1,000 in rent, all your expenses, including your debt service, principal, interest, tax, and insurance, and operating expenses such as maintenance, what else? Maintenance, I would say that's it, and then property management, all is going to be 800. So you cash flow 200. That's what they're looking for. So they're looking for a deal with equity. Great question. Another question?
But is it strictly based on the property or?
Yeah, it's asset-based. Those are asset-based. We're looking at asset-based. If you don't pay, they take over the property. Yeah. No, so that's why you want to buy the properties under your entity, right? So your assets, personal assets are protected. Yeah, so it's super important. But yeah, these are all asset-based. Great questions.
How to calculate this in DCR?
Oh, we calculate that for you. So in the report, we show that because we know it's important for them. It's right here, and we tell you based on the net operating income of 991 divided by the mortgage payment. So we even show you the formula right there. So it's the net operating income, which is your income minus your operating expenses. That's your NOI, and then you divide that by the mortgage payment. So they want to make sure that all the expenses and mortgage is paid off. But in a sense, there's so many ratios, guys, you don't need to worry about it. Just focus on getting a $100,000 spread, 80 to 100,000. If it's 80,000 spread, the rehab needs to be very light, no more than 15, 20,000. Any other questions on the line, Andy? Okay, very good. Perfect. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like on the system. Oh, so this is an example of the property in Burbank. So let me show you. I have it up on the screen before my screen times out. So this property in Burbank that we got on the contract, it's you see the reserve price. This is what it looks like. So in ChicagoDealVault, it's called shadow inventory. Okay, and we get hundreds, 300 to 500 properties. So here we're going to tell you the address, right? Whether it's occupied or vacant. But guess what? Even sometimes, like 3 properties that we bought, it said occupied. Guess what? When we went out to the property, it was vacant. They have already left. So this is not all 100% accurate. In this case, for this property, this is accurate. And then target. This is the bank's reserve. This is what the bank is going to set it for. For some reason, with fees and everything, our partner was able to get it on the contract for $94,000 plus all the fees. It's going to total up to $105,000. So we're going to even save some money there. So ChicagoDealVault is telling me the ARV is going to be from $177 to $196 Fred Montrose came up with like 180, 81, 82. I came up with like close to 170. I want to be very conservative. The numbers that I present to the private money lenders, I want to be extremely conservative, right? Because our reputation is on the line. I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, the property is going to price for 200,000. No, and then it doesn't appraise for that much. You always want to be extremely conservative when presenting your deal for funding. Okay, like Zestimate says 183. So I'm on the low end when presenting the deals. And then right here, Dealvault is telling me, well, if you're going to do a flip, the most you can offer is 105, I mean 107. We're going to pay 105 after all the fees and expenses. So all the numbers make sense. We're not going to flip it. We're going to keep it because Bergbank is a property that it's a rental market and a flipping market. We could also flip this. The months of housing supply in Bergbank, oh my goodness, it's like less than 2. Let me show you where that is very quickly. It's going to time out, right? Yes. So let me go here and show you. Remember that I told you the months of housing supply is something that very important for you to know. So I'm going to pull up Bergbank is the first report. So let me show you. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and go to the months of housing supply. So this is the livability score. Remember what I told you? Focus on areas that are over 70%, and you're going to be in great, great neighborhoods. That's simple. Then I'm going to scroll down. So this is crime, schools, household income, population growth. It's good, it's positive. Industry is the breakdown of the employers. Let me show you right here. This is super important. Months of housing supply for Bergbank for a single family home is 2.75. So it's going to take less than 3 months to sell the property. Okay, market time less than 3 months plus rehab, maybe about a month. So you can be in and out in 4 months in Bergbank. But we're gonna keep it for a rental. But that's just a parenthesis that I wanted to show you. Let me go back and focus on the shadow inventory for this week because today we got hundreds of properties. Look, so we got, for some reason on a Sunday, we never get properties, but we got like about 100 properties. So we have 404 properties that we got, okay, this week. So what I like to do is, you see the target right here? Target means the reserve price. These properties that are 70,000, this is in, for instance, Calumet City, Harvey. So they're cheaper properties. I mean, if you live in those neighborhoods, it's okay, but for us, this is way too far. And when I see very cheap properties, in my mind, man, a lot of rehab neighborhoods, maybe not the best, maybe neighborhoods have been affected the most in COVID. Let me just show you Calumet City, for instance. If you want to know about Calumet City, because here, first of all, right here, Calumet City, it's a C neighborhood, livability score 62. A lot of people are investing, don't get me wrong, right? It's an upcoming area, but for us, it's way too far, and we're just strictly sticking to livability score over 70%. Very simple. Because even when I talked to a private money lender, he said, Hugo, and also the other private money lender for flips, she said, Hugo, I'm interested in good areas. They stress that big time, good areas. Because here, when you try to do a flip on distressed neighborhoods, you have to put, when you finish a rehab, you have to put security in the property because they might vandalize, they might steal the copper pipes. I mean, it's just another level of stress, right? And right now, people in those neighborhoods are laid off, right? So you have to be very careful. That is why right now with the pandemic, we just removed the C neighborhoods. We're focusing on B neighborhoods, super important. So this is what the inventory looks like. So what I like to do is I sort by the target. So look at this, properties even for 12,000, but they're gonna be like in the middle of nowhere or very, very, very far, but very cheap properties, right? Gary, Indiana. So we're also getting properties in Indiana, by the way. So what I just typically do is I just go, there are 21 pages. I'm gonna go to the 17th page of this. Yes.
I have a quick question. So
Yes.
when you sign a contract on a property and someone's supposed to be in there, but they're not, do you have someone go secure the property and change the locks on it?
Absolutely. So the question is, when you have a contract on a property, right, that you secure, then at that point, I know I have to close on the property, so I don't want squatters, I don't want things to get stolen. So right away, we send our runner to secure the property. Locks, windows, everything. Okay, because we're gonna need access for the property and I don't want vandalism in the property. So super important, great question. So as soon as we secure any property, that's the first thing you have to do, secure the property. Like the property in Mount Prospect, the back door was open, but still, it's not my property. It's not, I didn't have it on the contract, so I didn't lock it, but I just closed the door. We closed the door, right? But as soon as we got on the contract, change the locks, secure all windows, all doors, right? Because then I don't want any potential issues. Okay, so this is. Are there any other questions on this? Yes.
Does the bank set the target price? If so, how did you get it for less than 170K?
So the bank sets its price, but on this one, on Berkman, I was very surprised. The bank set it at 107 on the website. I sold 102. Jacob got it as low as 94,000. That's how much the bank is going to get, 94,000. But there were some fees added onto it. It came up to like 105. But he wins, we win, everyone wins. The bank sort of wins. Well, not really, because the bank on this Berkman property, they're in the hole for 140,000. So the owner who lost the property owed them 140,000 on that Berkman property. The bank is going to get 94. But again, the bank is not in the business of real estate. They're in the business of lending. They want their money back. Does that make sense? They want to dispose of real estate. So it's 94 better than 0, right? Questions?
You paid, you have some ARV value and Prime Monroe gave you another ARV value. So like, so Prime Monroe is charging money to give you the other ARV value? Or?
So great question. Frank Monroe is our partner, so he's not going to charge us anything. And not only that, but he becomes your partner. You can call him. And in fact, we're taking this to the next level. So let me tell you what we're doing. It's super, super cool. Let me, I don't know where I clicked. Yeah. Okay, so let's put it back up. So what we're doing is we have access to this shadow inventory. So what we're doing next is I'm having our team go through this shadow inventory and just identify the properties that have a spread of over 80,000 and send them to you, right? Over 80,000 spread. And not only that, that is just for shadow inventory. So what we also did is, I told the team, set up searches on the MLS for the top rental markets and the top flipping markets, okay? Some markets may overlap, some markets are good for both, but I said set up searches and then we're looking for the same spread on MLS deals. So we don't want to miss any single deal. And we're taking it to the next level, since we also have in DealVault off-market properties, pre-foreclosures, probates, upcoming auctions, and so forth. So we're meeting, in fact, Frank Montrose is on board with door knockers. So right now we're going to engage 5 of them. We're going to give them the leads, already analyzed properties off market that have a huge spread, but we need to get them on the contract from the owner. So we're going to put people on the field to get these properties on the contract. So we're going to present you with contracts. Does that make sense? So all you need to do is just line up the funding, talk to your private money lenders on off-market deals. So that's what we're doing as of November. That's the new objective. Put people on the field to get these properties on the contract, present you with those properties. Obviously, we're going to make a wholesaling fee. We're going to sign them to you for a fee. So everyone makes money, right? So the owner doesn't lose the property, we make a fee, and you get a deal. Does that make sense? Yeah, so we're gonna take it to the next step. We're getting the top people to be on the field to do this for you. So right now, we're gonna be extremely aggressive on this. So in fact, I do wanna show you what it looks like. Let me show you from ChicagoDealVault because I'm getting a text and I just wanna implement this with everyone to show you what it looks like. So ChicagoDealVault ending in 1546. 1546. Where is that? So what I want to show you, 1546, where is that number? And the last 4 digits is 1546. Okay, so I'm gonna send this spreadsheet another way via email. Copy, oh yeah, 1546. 1546, right, they said? Yeah, no. So I'm gonna send it because I want to show you. It's so cool what it looks like. You've got to see this. I'm gonna send it via perhaps via email. Okay, so let's send this via email. So what I'm going to show you is the alerts that we're generating now for you, that we are going to generate for you. Paste, yeah, alert. Okay, perfect. So thank you for your patience. So let me go back to, I'm going to go back to email. Oh, this is the contract. Well, I'll show you that in a second. So this is what I want to show you. This is what it looks like. Perfect. Okay. So look, this is for shadow inventory. Look, Nashville, the one in Berkeley. You see this? Target 102. Zestimate 180. Profit spread 80,000. I told the team, go look at all the shadow inventory that we're getting on a weekly basis. Flag the ones with over 80% spread. Look at all these spreads. So they're flagging all of these, but these are very expensive properties. 300, 200, 3, 4, 5, I mean, very expensive properties. Even if they're awesome deals with a huge spread, we won't take those because it's too much money on the line. We just want to keep it simple. We learn to maximize our return and minimize our risk by focusing on the small properties. Because big doesn't mean more money, it means more risk. You can lose your shirt in these deals. Because just imagine the rehab on these properties, and these are in great neighborhoods, Oakford, Northbrook, Buffalo Grove, Arlington Heights. I mean, the rehab on these bigger properties is going to be astronomical. Does that make sense? 50, 60, 70,000. So we just want to keep it simple, right? We just want to keep it simple. So right now, so look, we're getting more deals with a lot of spread. Downers Grove, Palos Hill, Buffalo Grove, Algonquin, this place. These are great neighborhoods. Look at the areas. B and A. That was one of my instructions. I want you to flag also not only profit spread, but good neighborhoods. Flag them. Whether we pull them, that's a separate story. But look at this. This place is a top market for rentals. Look, this is the target, 175, 199, and the property is, is worth over 250, 322. Does that make sense? So these are potential great deals that we're going to flag them and we're taking it to the next level. These are top flipping and top rental markets. These are MLS. Okay, we're also identifying great deals from MLS. Okay, so if they make sense, we're going to pull them or we're going to make an offer. Does that make sense? So doing these that we're making available to you is a way for you to ever miss a single deal. Does that make sense? So this is backdoor properties, MLS, and we also have these for pre-foreclosures. So let me show you what we're doing for off-market properties that we're making available to you. Yes, Supervisor?
you find one shadow inventory property, so how do you get in touch with the Jacko?
Oh, yeah, great question. So these are all shadow inventory properties, right? So let me give you an example. So for instance, let's look up one of these, 2313 on ChicagoDealVault. So right here, shadow inventory target 23. What was the address? 2318. 23. Oh, whoa, too many. Let me go back to that spreadsheet. 2313. So let me show you what it looks like. How you connect with the asset manager. Oh, it's no longer there. So clear, I'll just pull up a random one right here in Dalton, okay? So let's assume that this is a great deal, okay? But this is not a great deal. You buy it for 90,000 almost, and it's worth 130, 140, so 130. There's not enough meat in the bone. Does that make sense? But if you're interested in this, it says inquiry right here. There's an inquiry button right there. Boom, you click on it, and this is where you connect with Jacob. You say, is this available? Does that make sense? And if he says yes, he's going to reply via email. Then boom, you get it on the contract. Yeah. No, he's got access to nationwide inventory. But since we're just in Illinois, he has access to nationwide properties, Python properties. It's an amazing connection. But yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because this is how you communicate with him. So once you have access to this inventory, the next step is for you to give us, Chris, do you have access to this inventory?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now you got vetted, right? By Jacob?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Fred, you're vetted for this inventory, right?
Yeah, I usually really get clear to answer.
Because
To her question, I went through Jacob. I bought a property in March. It actually went to auction, and at auction it sold for $104,000. The RRV was $157,000. I went to Jacob, and the bank wanted. I got it for $63,000.
whoa.
So the owner is still in the property. This is when the lockdown started, so I was unable to look inside of it. I don't know what it looks like. The only thing I noticed, the owner is still manicuring the lawn, so if she's doing that, I'm thinking the inside may be in decent shape. But yeah, I went through Jacob. And the property went for, like I said, 104 on auction.com. And I was able to, Jacob emailed me back. He said, "Are you sure you want this property? Because it's occupied." Because he recommended not to, purchase occupied properties. But I got several other properties in that area, so I know exactly what they go for. So I went on and told him yes, and I bought it.
Good job.
Have you talked to the occupant to give her cash?
So another question?
Have you talked to the occupant yet to give her cash for keys?
Yes, I did. She refused, so I'm gonna have to evict her.
You're gonna waive her out.
Okay, so that's an example, right? In auction.com is going for over 100,000, and he gets it for like 60 cents on the dollar. I mean, we're doing exactly the same thing. So when you have access to this inventory, the next step is to get vetted by Jacob. So he wants to see your entity docs and your proof of funds or line of credit. Okay. So what we're going to give you is, so in ChicagoDealVault, on the preferred partners, you're going to need to work with hard money lenders and private money lenders. So we just updated this week. So let me show you. Hard money lenders, check this out. Over 27 hard money lenders lending today during the pandemic. We've used some of them, not all of them, but they're all vetted. Hard money lenders, asset-based. So we're going to give you their contact information. Private money lenders, look at this. If I click on private money lenders up there, we have, it's astonishing, 8,400 private money lenders. Okay, it's mind-blowing because these are people like you and I, but The difference is with a lot of money who chose to become passive in real estate. So they're lending money like, so tell me, you want to lend money, right? Tell us what's behind what's your thinking on lending money and why?
My name is Neelu. The reason why we want to lend money is because right now we're a lot of cash.
Okay.
And quick money back, I would say. Quick money back, interest rates are really high. Only thing is we will be taking good amount of risk, right? And that's where I can understand what it is. Both me and my husband have very good jobs. And we are almost debt free. We're sitting on cash and we are willing to help others. Of course, we are also looking into making some profit.
Awesome. So imagine this. So she's sitting on a lot of cash, almost debt free. What do you need to do, guys? Present one of these deals over to somebody who can just lend the money. So if I come to you and present a great deal, but I tell you, Nisha? Nilo, I said, Nilo, this has a great spread, but you know what? Can you fund 100% of the purchase and 100% of the rehab? And we're going to pay you back on the back end when we refinance. Would you be okay with that? You're going to get your money plus interest. Would you be okay with that? You see? She's okay with it. You see, guys? So we're just killing the myth, and I just show you over the phone with Fresh, right? So they are willing to lend you money. So you're going to put zero money out of pocket. All you need to do is come up with a great deal, and we're helping you with this now. Well, I want to make sure that all you focus on is the areas. Focus on the areas which we're going to give you access to the top rental markets, top flipping markets, whatever your exit strategy is. But money is not the issue when you have a great deal. Does that make sense? And that's what the pros have. They have a great deal. They understand. They're not math scientists, so they just understand basic analysis. And they have funding all day long because they have a great deal. And they know how to present it, which is I'm showing you how to present it. On DealVault, the DealVault generates the report that I just showed you earlier. We click a button, boom, it generates the report. So again, we kill the myth of people not getting into real estate because of no money or credit. And guess what? I don't have a job. I don't have a W-2. I don't have a 1099, right? But yet, I ask over the phone, can you give me 120,000? Sure, no problem, Hugo. Can you imagine how crazy that is? But we do have one thing, a deal. And believe me, I'm not like a real estate guru by no means. I'm just like you. That's why I love the system, because the system does it all for me. And the people behind DealVault, I'm gonna need to give them credit to all of them, which by the way, they're online right now. Lovely, Philippe, Phil, Natalia are online. Thank you guys for your awesome support, because they help analyze deals, they go through the data, they load the data on a daily basis. So this is current data. All you need to do is just, in this case, we're gonna just check your phone to see the alerts of great deals and present them to private money lenders. Because again, you don't want to put any money out of your pocket. All you need to make sure is that you have a great deal and a great relationship. So this is very important. Hard money lenders are institutions, okay, backed up by hedge funds, so they have tons of money, but they want you to have skin in the game. They're going to ask you for 10, 15% money down. And I have great relationships with them, but they're going to ask me for money down. They're going to give us great terms, but if right now, let's say I'm tied up with money and I want to do another deal, I'm going to talk to private money lenders, right? Because they can close even faster. Neil, we can close. I told our private money lender, can you close third week of November? He said yes. Our money lenders, they need 3-4 weeks, but private money lenders like as little as 2 weeks, right? And the terms are more flexible, right? With hard money lenders or big institutions, they have their protocols, right? They need to follow. Like this, the one in Elmwood Park, we're refinancing. So let me show you what that document looks like. On the back end, where is that?
Some hard money lenders can carry it.
The question is what?
After you rehab, can some of the hard money lenders change the loan over to long-term?
Yes. So the question is, can hard money lenders put them in a rental loan? Yes, they're doing that nowadays. Like Renault is doing that. So Elmwood Park, Renault gave us the money for the purchase, the rehab, and now they're turning that into a rehab loan, into a rental loan. And not only that, but we aren't taking cash out, we're taking 20,000. So not only do we have very little money stuck on the property, but we're also cash flowing. So yeah, that's what Harmony Lenders are doing that. Constructive Loans is doing that. Renault is doing that. Barnett started to do that. Lima Capital, I'm not sure. We have like over 27, and they're moving into that trend because they're missing a big piece of the pie, right? Because you pay them interest for 3-4 months, and then boom, they're out of the equation. They want to be with you for 30 years. They want you to pay them interest for the next 30 years. They're becoming smart. Great question. Any other questions on the line? So yeah, we're gonna give you access to the shadow inventory, and then we're gonna vet you. So Chris, do you have your documents? Have you submitted documents over to us? So go to your entity and your proof of funds. Okay. Okay, so that's the next step. As soon as we give you access to this inventory, we're gonna ask you for 2 documents, and I'm gonna show you what they look like. So in ChicagoDealVault, right here under settings, user settings, I have right here proof of funds, articles of incorporation. So I'm going to download them for you to see what it looks like. So this is the proof of funds. This is from Constructive Loans. So they said, Hugo, you can buy up to $500,000 property, right? And here are the terms, the interest rate and so forth. So this is an approved fixed and loan line of credit. So you can reach out to Harmony Lenders. They're going to give you one of these, right? And we are also going to ask you for your entity docs, like your operating agreement, your articles of incorporation, everything about your entity. Let me show you what the proof of funds look like from private money lenders. Okay. So here, let me open up this folder. This is another proof of funds example. Oh, this is from a private money lender. Okay, so this is our entity, Home First, up to $250,000. You know that they can lend us. Private money lender. So this is an example of a proof of funds because you're going to need that to present that with your deals. Let me show you another one from another Harmony lender, Albica. So they call it different. So this is a letter of per 300,000. Albica Financial, that's a Harmony lender. Another one, we work with Renault as well. Barnett, another letter, 300,000. So you're gonna need to go out, get these letters from them, and then, because we're gonna need these for you to follow through on the transactions. Does that make sense? But it's very easy. You use Finance of America, right, Fred? Who do you use? Private money lenders. Did you use Finance of America in the past?
Yeah.
They're also Finance of America, another Harmony lender. So great resources that we're going to provide you. So we're going to give you access to the inventory, and then we're going to set you up for the alerts. Okay, the alerts are going to show you the best deals off of the off-market targeting, shadow inventory, also MLAs, and we are going to also for pre-foreclosure sending you alerts. But we're going to have people on the ground to try to get these deals on the contract, and they bring them to you. Does that make sense? Are there any other questions on the line? Okay. Great question. So is your line of credit based on your personal credit, your assets? So the line of credit is based on your liquidity. Okay, so for instance, if your liquid assets, that includes pension plans, savings, checkings, amount to, let's say, 40,000, they're going to multiply that times either 5 or up to 10 times, and that's what they're going to give you. So if you have 40,000, they may give you 250 or up to $500,000. That's the formula they use, and the terms are going to be dictated by your experience and credit. So if you have a lot of experience in real estate, you're going to get the best terms, like lower interest rates. So we get less than 9% with these guys because we have experience. And then the rate, the better your FICO score, the better the rate. So on the refinance for right now, Elmwood Park, we're getting 5.65 on the back end, and we're getting 20,000 cash out. Okay, when you cash out, the rate is going to be a little bit higher, but still, right now the rates being historically so low, boom, you're going to get great deals. So we're going to give you access today to the shadow inventory and also Harmony lenders, because I want you to, as soon as you have access to these, submit your proof of funds and your entity docs. If you don't have a company yet, you need to form that ASAP. We can give you either an accountant that can do that for you, or online, legalzoom.com. It's my favorite resource. Within a week and $600, you get your entity created in case you don't have it. Any other questions on the line? Okay. Yes.
You and Frida operate both out of corporation S corps, is that right?
So the question is, what type of entities do we work on? We have S corps and LLCs. So technically, we have one for rentals, another one for flips, but the rule of thumb is based on your equity. So you're going to stack up properties in an entity. It could be an S corp, an LLC. So long, once you reach 500,000 in equity, you've got to move them out so that you're fully protected. On top of that, you need an umbrella policy, right? So your personal assets are always protected. So great question. Always work under an entity, because Harmony lenders want to lend money to your entity. Why? They won't do it to your name because the foreclosure process in Illinois can take up to 2 years under your entity, but they'll take over your property under your entity in less than 6 months. That's the big difference. So that is why have your entity, your assets are going to be protected. You're going to get money easier under your entity for sure. Okay. So back and refinance with Harmony lenders, no. You know, it's so simple. They said, Hugo, I said, I just sent a text to Brandon. I said, I need to refinance this, put it in a rental loan. And they said, okay, so just send me screenshots of your bank accounts, 2 bank accounts, and a copy of the lease. That's it, which is crazy. Let's not go too far. Business credit cards, right? I don't know, W2 or 1099. Bank of America gave us like up to 120 line of credit. It's insane, business credit. Which, by the way, you need to get the business credit cards, and in here we just added that. I think it's called business credit cards. We just added like 7 of them, so that you can get your business credit cards. Oh, credit repair? No, credit repair. Credit cards, it's in here. We just added that category. We'll give you access to that. So, friends, any other questions on the line? Let's just quickly summarize, okay, everything we've done today. So the pros, I want to make sure that you join the ranks of the pros. What do they have? They have 3 things. They have a great deal, they understand basic analysis, and they have funding. But they have funding because they have a great deal. So everything revolves around having a great deal. What's secret number 1? To find a great deal. That it has a spread of how much? $100,000. Boom, it took us 2.5 years to figure that secret out. Can you imagine that? 100,000. I was just going insane with spreadsheets, with numbers, ARVs, just to figure out that I just need to add 100,000 to what the price is. And if it doesn't meet that, forget it. And the rehab needs to be less than how much? 40,000. That makes you the best deal finder ever. That's it. Can you imagine? All these webinars, everything boils down to $100,000 spread, less than 40,000. And obviously, you need to make sure that your area supports your exit strategy, because there are rental markets, flipping markets, right? That was the mistake we made at the beginning. We wanted to go flip in a rental market. So we haven't sold that property. It doesn't cash flow. We still keep it. Can you imagine? So we give you all the areas, the top rental and flipping markets. So super important. And you focus on the right area and location, location, location. We found great deals on the target where the prices make sense, but the location, right? You want to stay away from cemeteries, train tracks, airports, busy streets, commercial strips, because your location will knock off your ARV like not tomorrow. You won't be able to sell it. Renters are picky sometimes. And please focus on B+, B-, A- areas, B and A, okay? C+ would be very cautious, be very careful. Remember, livability score over 70%, over 70. For you to maximize your return, purchase price should be less than 175. Okay, as you saw, great properties, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, brick, Mount Prospect, 160. So there's no reason to pay over 200,000 for a property unless you want to go to the A+ neighborhoods. But then exponentially, your rehab goes through the roof. Taxes, I mean, that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. There are some even B markets like Flossmoor that taxes will kill you. They have like 9, 10,000. So the property is over 9,000 taxes, that's going to kill your cash flow. And those properties sit in the market for 3, 4, 6 months. The months of housing supply in Flossmoor is like 5, 6 months. Why? Taxes, $9,000, $10,000. Be cautious of taxes. Great, I'm glad you mentioned that. So remember, focus on B, A neighborhoods under 175, rehab less than 40,000, have access to bank-owned properties, right? Where you can pay 60 cents on the dollar, like Fred, like us, we pay 50 cents on the dollar for great properties. That's how you're going to scale. You're going to be making money the minute you get the property, the contract. Not when you rehab, not when you rent, not when you refi. No, that's the cream on top of the cake. No, you're going to be making money when you get them on the contract. Private money lenders will be happy to give you the money. Hard money lenders as well. The only difference is that they're relationship based, right? You need to be in touch with them. You need to work your relationships with private money lenders. Hard money lenders or big corporations, they need the skin in the game, right? You don't need to have that kind of a relationship so long you present a great deal and present the deal to get funded through just a click of a button, boom, generate the PDF report. We're going to do the comps. And we can also have our pros. There's a button that says Ask a Pro on the upper right-hand corner. If you have a question on the deal, we can help you analyze the deal, right? Make sure that it makes sense, that you don't lose money or that you especially don't overpay for the property. So now to get access to all of these, you need to be a Blue Angel member. So the membership is $14.40 for the entire year, which is equivalent to like $120 a month. Okay, the monthly membership is $140, so you're going to be saving like 20%. So imagine, it's like $14.40. I was thinking, oh my goodness, all this value, and that's the difference between ordinary investors and pros. They think value, not cost. Can you imagine we've done like 6, 7 deals from bank-owned properties, adding like over $500,000 in net worth from getting these deals? Can you imagine 1440 is not even 1%? Does that make sense? So you're going to be making your money like Fred, right? He paid 60 for a property that people will pay over 100. So this is the way to go, and the numbers are going to exponentially increase next year, right? When the courts open the filings for variances over, you're going to see not 400 or 500. We're seeing 1,000 properties a week. It's just overwhelming. That is why we're putting our people to help you just without the bad ones and flag the top deals with over $80,000 spread, right? So we really want to make sure that you're successful today, not tomorrow. So yeah, so come forward. We have Phil and Lovely on the line. Please send a message if you want to upgrade. Phil, Lovely, can you please send via the text the link to the registration form and the package they need to select to become Blue Angel members? As soon as you do that, we're going to send you the training link. We're going to train you, give you the resources to get the Harmony Lenders approval letter. And also, we're going to ask you for your proof of funds so that you get going like this week, actually next week. This week is over, next week. Okay, we want you to start looking at the deals. We're going to send you the alerts. So again, it's $1,400, and you know what? We're going to make a 30-day money back guarantee. So you can try it out. If you don't like it for whatever reason, we'll give you your money back. Okay, try it out. We're going to give you access to everything, and we're going to send you the alerts for the great deals. So that you start today. And in 30 days, if this is not for you, that's okay. We'll give you your money back. But we want to make sure that you are successful today. That you do what I said at the beginning, what you truly love, right? Because freedom of time, it's just amazing. Right now we just had our 4th kid, and it's been amazing being able to spend time with the little one, with all of them. not have a full-time job. So it's been incredible. And yet we're still doing deals, even though I'm a full-time dad. I mean, it's just incredible, and I have the pleasure to spend time with you in the evenings. I just love what I do, and life is short, and we just need to make the most out of it, because and eventually the financial freedom comes right after you have the freedom of time, which is huge, is priceless, right? So I want to make sure that if I was in your shoes 2.5 years, 3 years ago, that you can replicate the same success. The only difference is that we cracked the code, we're giving you the secrets, we're giving you access to our resources. So for you, it shouldn't take you that long. It should be in a reasonable amount of time, depending on how much time you put into these, right? It's not going to be overnight, right? Real estate is a long-term investment. Like Chris, right? He's up to like 20 rentals in the last 3 years. With the support of Mastery, Andrew Holmes, Chicago RIA, which is a great organization. I also became a master's student. So great supporters, great mentors that support us. So we've been very fortunate. That is why we are giving back to all of you, for everyone to be able to join the ranks of the pros. Because it's about time for us to start taking this home real, these home run deals, right? Not only the pros, it's about for ordinary investors to start doing the same thing, right? So that's why I want to share everything with us, 1440, and then 30 days money back guarantee. We'll give you all the resources, the alerts, everything to make it easy, because that's my thing, simplicity. I hate complexity, okay? I hate spreadsheets. I just want to keep it very, very simple. So I'm giving you the secrets, the shortcuts for you to take your real estate investment efforts to the next level. So yeah, did Phil send the link for the, perfect. Okay, just send the link to sign up. If you're interested in signing up, then we'll have iPads. If you already have access, just send a message via the chat that you want to upgrade to the Blue Angel. We have all your billing information. We'll just upgrade you to the Blue Angel. And next week, make sure that you join. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about probates. We have the queen of probates, Sharon Vonhort from Nashville. She's going to be with us tomorrow night, okay? And then Wednesday, we're going to take you to a virtual property tour. We just finished a property in Chiller Park. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I'm going to show you that property. As I did Elmwood Park last week, I'm going to show you Chiller Park. And so we're going to go over the numbers. So great event as well. But I really want to make sure that you have access to the resources that we have access to, so that you don't reinvent the wheel, right? Because time doesn't come back. That's the key thing. I want to make sure that you have the resources, the technology, the training for you to be successful. And also partner up, super important. So we're going to help you partner up, get access to funding, private money lenders from ChicagoDealVault, the one I spoke with earlier today, to help fund your deals. Okay, so thank you everyone for coming. Great attendance. We're going to be here, answer any questions and help you sign up for the Blue Angel 1440, a year, no commitment, 30 days money back guarantee. Thank you everyone for coming. I look forward to helping you be more successful in the near future. Thank you.